Hello, gorgeous higher self and I am so excited. If you're watching the video right now, you will be able to see just how excited we are. And quite frankly, this is how we join every Zoom call, isn't it? Every
It's
single Zoom
true.
call we
It's
have.
true.
But I have the wonderful Leanne with me today. I've already given her a stellar introduction, but she is joining me as a success story with working with me as a client. She is my 6-month one-to-one client. And by God, this is an absolute milestone for you, isn't it?
It's a massive milestone. Like, this is a proper pinch me moment because I don't know if you remember, Beck, but
I remember.
about a day after I signed up to coach with you, and you'd been on my radar, on my vision board, in fact, and that's the truth. You've been on my vision board for a while. And then when I signed up with you, I remember listening to one of your success story podcasts, and I messaged you saying, oh, fuck, I really wish that could be me one day, and never actually believing that it would be. And then when I got the invite from you about a month ago to do this because of my business just booming, it was like, oh, holy shit, it's my time. I'm getting on the podcast. I am that success story. And even what was so funny is that when we were in Voxer together, I was like messaging you saying, can you imagine what the podcast's going to be like when I say Leanne was like this and then she did this and whoa, look what happened. And it all came true, right?
It did. You are living the reality that not so long ago, just shy of probably 5 months ago, did we sit there and you were like, I don't know how this is ever going to happen. I can't see this happening for me. And I know we'll get into all of that, but oh my God, like that conversation that we had to fast forward to now, it's insane, isn't it? What's changed for you?
It's insane. And when we get on calls together, how many times have I said, can we just take a moment to acknowledge that this has happened? And we're like dancing around the room together because it's actually happened. I brought it in. Like, it's become my reality. These things that I put on my vision board, these audacious goals that I set with you, not only have I achieved them, but I've fucking surpassed them. And that's because of you, Beck. It's
and
you.
And you.
We're a
I'm not
dream
taking all the
team.
credit here.
We're a
We are
dream
dream team. So let's rewind back. Let's rewind back from the very beginning. And I know we had actually quite a lot of conversations in DMs way before you worked with me. And I know you had found me through a friend who had worked with me a couple of years ago and had been following and listening. And, in that kind of space of wanting to invest, and like you said, on the vision board, which still is a pinch me moment for myself to be on someone's vision board, to want, for you to want to work with me. But I remember, and I can't remember at what point this was, but you messaged me about the niche that you were in, about whether it was a niche to be in, basically. I don't know whether you remember that conversation.
I remember that, definitely. I came out of coach school and I became a coach for moms and mums. I work with a lot of Americans, so I tend to call them moms, which my like Geordie buddies hate.
Yes.
I was working with moms, and it's an incredibly difficult niche. And I did it for 2 years, and towards like within about 2 years, I had found you. You were the number one podcast that I listened to. Do you know when in December you get your Spotify, like, this is what's happened in the past year? You were my number one podcast that I listened to. And I remember sharing that with you.
Yes, I do. I loved it.
This is how much of a super fan I am. Yours is the only podcast whose day I know it comes out. It's every Tuesday. I knew that. That was wired. You wired that into my brain. Thanks for that, Beck. But anyway, I was getting a bit frustrated with my niche because I was getting on calls with people. I had success. I'd hit that holy grail of 10K months. I was fully booked with 18 clients, which, spoiler alert, no one tells you that 18 clients is probably too many. I was in the mum niche and I messaged you and I was like, Beck, do you ever see anyone been this successful when they're not coaching mums, or is this all just about business coaching?
Mm.
And you actually replied and were like, no, it's not just for business coaches. It's for anyone in any niche.
Yeah. Yeah, for
It
sure.
can be viable. And that
Yeah.
was, I think, that might have been about 18 months ago that I
Mm.
messaged you. So you were
Mm.
on my radar then.
Yeah. And then coming into the container, I think let's go back to how you were feeling. So, what you were going through at the time, how you were feeling, because I know there was so much frustration, wasn't there? And so much. What I love about you is your tenacity and your drive and your want for the life that you fucking desire and that you really, really deserve. And the frustration behind that not coming to fruition again and again, it really started to get to you, didn't it? And that was kind of the space that you were in when we started together. What were you going through at that point?
At that point, I always had consistent clients, which was brilliant, but I just wasn't scaling my business. It was all one-to-one at the time. And I had done other group programs before, and knew that the way to scale that looked like was going to work for me was to build out a group program or a
Mm-hmm.
membership. But there was something holding me back, because ultimately I was finding that mums do not want to invest in themselves. And I got that. It took me a long time to accept that. But
Mm.
mums don't really want to invest in themselves because of all the conditioning that they've had, the societal conditioning, the patriarchy. We're told that it's selfish to invest in ourselves. Why would you want something just for you? I mean, it's utter bullshit.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I was trying to sell and invite women into my program that really didn't want to invest in themselves as much as they could see the transformation. They saw my results, my testimonials are off the scale. I
Yeah.
had all of that, but they still wouldn't invest. And my program wasn't massively high ticket at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
I found it hard to get clients,
Yeah.
and I was just over it
Yeah.
basically. And
Yeah.
I thought that I was doing something wrong, that there was something that I should be doing or could be doing that I wasn't. And that's when I reached out to you, when actually I realized I knew all the strategy. I had it down pat because I'd been in other coaching programs. I knew what I had to do, but I wasn't fucking doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as much as I totally 1,000,000% appreciate the power of coaching, I had never invested in my own one-to-one coach.
Mm.
And to
Mm.
be honest, after having one, i.e. you, I'll never not have a coach. Or
Yeah.
maybe I'll go for like periods of just
Being,
implementation,
yeah,
but it's
implementation.
different level when you have someone in your corner one-to-one.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember that first conversation that we had, and I think this is going to be quite a lot of what we talk about on today's podcast, of that honesty that you had to have with yourself, whether you carried on with the niche that you were in, right? And we had that conversation, and I think we have such a beautiful relationship, like I do with a lot of my clients, where you ask me to call you out, don't you? Like
I
you're,
love it when you call me out. I even ask you to call me out and be like, Beck, can you give me some harsh truths now?
yeah,
Because
hard
that's
truth
what
incoming.
because I'm not, the fluff doesn't work with me.
No,
But I need someone to be like, Leanne, you're doing this and you need to pack it in, or you're not going to get what you want. And that's
yeah.
what you do for me, Beck. And I love you for it. I love you even more because you do that for me.
Yeah. And so I remember sitting on the call and we had the conversation. And like Leanne said, her niche was purely moms, not business moms, not, entrepreneur moms. It was just moms in general. And I think you got stuck between a rock and a hard place of what to do next. And we did have a look at how you wanted to grow the business and what you wanted to look like and how you were holding yourself back from that. But actually, we found a misalignment with the niche that you were in, didn't we? In
Yes.
the grand scheme of things. Just speak a little bit into that.
So we were on a call. I think it was my first call with you.
Yes, I think it was.
And you asked me what I really love doing, like Leanne, what change do you want to see in the world? What do you love helping people achieve? And I'd actually, when I was working with some of my mum clients, I'd help them start businesses,
Mm, mm,
because a lot of work that I do with did with moms was around, firstly, turn down your inner critic. Secondly, cultivate self-love. And then thirdly, find your purpose. What is your mission? What is going to make you want to get out of bed on a morning? Because that is like the elixir of life, having that purpose in your belly.
Yeah.
And what I realized was that I loved helping my clients with the purpose piece, and whether that was building a business or whether that was being more confident at work, I loved helping women make huge change. And I was like the ultimate cheerleader for them.
Yeah.
So when you spoke to me about, well, what do you want to see? Actually, it was all about, I want to help women build businesses. I want to help them have that life and business that's on their vision board.
Yeah.
And very quickly you were like, well, you haven't actually mentioned moms in this. And I was like, oh shit, I haven't. And my heart will always be with mums, Beck, because I think mums need coaching. So, like, every mum should be assigned a coach to help them navigate motherhood, because it's so difficult.
Yeah.
Especially if you go into motherhood feeling not good enough, then you're going to feel even worse.
Yeah.
So we had the convo about what do I really want to do, and you kind of said, planted the seed of, does this mean that maybe moms isn't your thing? And Beck, I was on the cusp of launching a group program that had taken me a year to build. It was awesome. I recorded the videos, the content was there, the portal was there. And then after that one conversation with you, I knew I had to pivot.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks I had. And I think even that blew your socks off at how quickly that turnaround was.
But I think that was a complete knowing for you, that it was almost like, okay, because we started to look at what wasn't working within the mom niche for you. And, you know, we had a look at the mindset, and I started to see this lack of alignment of what lit you up, of what made you that woman that I saw on calls, and it wasn't kind of correlating into socials, or, you know, there was almost just that you spark missing. And I think it was coming from the fact that you were like, actually, no, like, this is what I want to do. This is what lights me up. This is who it's for. And actually, I'm really fucking good at it as well. And just having that switch. And I think that's why from like session 1 to the next session, literally from session 2 bi-weekly, we'd done the full pivot, hadn't you? You'd done the full pivot and moved into that. How did that feel, having that, like, that kind of knowing that you're like, oh my God, this has to happen? Because I know a lot of people want to shift and change maybe their messaging or the type of client that they're speaking about. Maybe it's not a full niche change or a full business change, but I think a lot of people are scared of doing it. How did that feel for you when you were doing it?
There was part of me, and there will always be a part of my brain, and you've seen this in action many times, Beck, where the default is like, you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
That's like my old childhood shit coming up. Like, you've done something wrong. Who am I going to let down? But what about these people that rely on my Facebook group for support? What about these people who are waiting for my content to drop? I had to kind of let that all go and trust that this was going to exhilarate me. And once I took 10 minutes to kind of feel bad, from then on, it was like, yes, this is the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah. And I think it was that trust within yourself that we've been working so closely with since we've been working together. And you've had a lot of up levels since then. You know, a lot of things have shifted and happened since February, since March, when we started working together. So it's almost the shift of that trust within you to do that. And that was the very first step of you actually trusting what you wanted, wasn't it? And following that.
Definitely it was. And I would not have done that if it wasn't for you. And that is exactly why I hired you, Beck, to help me make these big decisions that I had been kind of procrastinating over for at least a year and not taking action. It took one conversation with you to
one
realize.
conversation and one call out, and boom, we were there.
And we were doing it.
Yeah. And if anyone takes action, you fricking take the action, which I love. You go and do the thing. Okay, so we started to build the trust muscle. We did the whole niche shift. That's quite hard to say.
It is.
And what happened next from a mindset perspective? Because we've done quite a lot of mindset work, haven't we, around you really stepping into the coach that you want to be, the business owner that you want to be, and how you portray that. I know we did a lot of work around your stories and how you show up on there. What was the kind of next obstacle that we got to, that we had to work through for you?
The next obstacle was changing my whole content on social media. I already had a pretty decent following, but they were all mums. I was very not the word specific. I block people all of the time. If there's anyone that tries to follow me on Instagram, that's a man who I don't know in person, and we get a lot of those freaky guys, right?
Yeah.
That I just block them. So nearly everyone that was in my old following was my ideal client. So I had to then build up to have coaches coming in. So it was that the content shift that had to really take a big boost of, come on, Leanne, you can do this. It's safe for you to say that you're good at this. It's safe for you to magnetize your ideal clients. And it's safe just to be you.
Yes. Yes. And I think that that was such a huge shift that I saw within you, is you actually believing it. And I think it's weird, isn't it? Because I see this happen so often. We all know how amazing we are, I believe, inside, deep down, very, very, very deep down. It might be very, very quiet, and you might have to really, really fucking listen to find out. But actually, the more that you can stand in that, and the more that you can bring that, especially from an energy perspective, the way that you show up and the way that you are as a person, that is the embodiment of getting people in and converting anyway, isn't it? So
It is.
we did a lot of work around you and the belief that you have for yourself in order for you to then show up and be that person, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a lot, because my mindset just wanted to default back to, like everyone's does, oh, you're not good enough,
Yeah.
you'll fail, what are people going to think? My brain will always default to that first. So I had to have strategies in place, whether that's hypnosis tracks from you, whether that is voice noting you
Yeah.
in Voxer, or looking back at some of our calls. I had to have almost like a distraction from the default that would propel me forward into my business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would allow you to keep showing up. And, you know, there was that moment where you really leaned into Voxer and the support with the content, and then it started to become so subconscious to you that you don't even think about it now, do you? You know,
It
you
did.
show up and
It
there
did.
it is, and content's written and it's going out and your stories are electric, and all of those things. You had to become so consciously competent to them for a while, didn't you, in order to get them into your reality and start to understand what that new iteration of you and the business and socials look like, in order for you to step into that.
Yeah, definitely. And you held my hand like every step of the way, but you also empowered me to do it on my own. Like at first, when I was doing anything new, I would obviously want your feedback and validation, but then very softly, you're like, you can do this yourself, Leah. You never said that, but I
No.
knew that you were kind of passing the baton on to me and saying, well, Leanne, well, what would you think? How would Leanne answer this? And you empowered me to take control of my own business. And
Yes.
that lasts a lifetime, right?
Oh,
You're not here just to get me to keep doing a 6-month container for the next
no.
decade. You're here to empower me. And I definitely, with every aspect of my business, have you had that lovely balance of supporting me, but also empowering me.
To move into that, what that next iteration is, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
so we did work on the trust of you. We did work within the belief of you. We honed in on your content and your messaging. So we really started to speak to that new ideal client. We did quite a bit of work on building your audience and what that looked like and getting new eyes on you. And then what happened?
Well, I brought in some dreamy clients and more dreamy clients, and booked a surprise holiday for my family that they don't know about. Hopefully when this airs, we've actually been. They don't listen. but I think on my vision board, I had like 10K months, and I'd already hit them in my mom niche. But for me, this was a completely new business. And you
Yeah.
actually said that to me when we were like 2 months in and I had a bit of a wobble. And you were like, Leanne, I know you've been coaching since 2020, but you've only been in this niche for 2 months.
Yeah.
Stop
Give yourself a
panicking.
break.
Yeah, give yourself a break. So I had on my vision board 10K months. And last month it was over 15, which is phenomenal. Okay. And that is a true pinch me moment.
Yeah.
But the clients that I am attracting, that I'm magnetic to, they are the most gorgeous people. And when you're under my wing, you're under my wing. We're
Yeah.
building this together. Like you, I'm celebrating all of the wins. I'm with them in the struggles. I take their businesses personally. I
Yeah.
want them to grow as much as
Yeah.
I want my own to grow.
Yes, for sure.
And
For
I
sure.
feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing,
Yeah.
helping women build amazing businesses.
Yeah, which I think is like the most powerful thing, that you came into this container with a vision of like, why isn't this mom niche working for me? And I feel so stuck, to like, could you imagine if we showed you the kind of early 2023 version of you, this podcast? She'd be like, what? The actual,
Yeah,
wouldn't she?
she would never ever have believed that she would be talking about that level of success
Yeah.
and the dreamy clients that she's working with.
Yeah, for sure. And that, I just wanted to mention the holiday, because I know that that was a huge part of your vision board and being able to do that. And I know that you had, we did work on a little bit of the pressure that you gave yourself in order to do that for your family and where it was coming from. And I think having shifted that allowed you to move into that more. But how did that feel to be able to create a business that you believed in and you trusted yourself so much and had that there to then be able to pay off the holiday? Like, I just can't even describe how that felt when you told me that.
It was I think we were both screaming, right? That I'd actually done it, because my hubby didn't believe me when I
Yeah.
said, look, I'm going to book this holiday and we're going to Florida, for God's sake. Like,
Yeah.
it's a big holiday. And my husband was like, whatever, Leanne, as he does, he eye rolls my business so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother story. um, and he didn't believe me. But then I spoke to you and you did. You were like, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
And I had no evidence at the time that I could. It was months ago, right? But I
Yeah.
knew that I wanted to book this holiday. We just paid a deposit. And at the beginning of September, I was going to have to pay that off in full out of my own business. So to actually do that, it just felt incredible. And you
I
know
bet.
what? I want to do that again and again
Yeah.
and again.
Yeah.
To commit, to trust, to take action, and then bring it fucking in.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that is that really has been what's shone through working with you, is that commitment, the trust in your commitment, and then following through on the commitment. And I know we've got things that we're still committing to, that we're following through on right now, that we're taking
Big
the big
things,
things
baby.
coming. Like we're still doing that process, but you've now got evidence in the bank. I meant the higher self bank, but the actual bank as well. We've now got evidence that you can do scary things and you can do huge things and you can achieve them. What do you think allowed you to actually do that? What was the turning point for you to actually fully allow yourself to go there?
To fully allow myself to trust in myself and the
Yeah, to have
business.
that. Yeah.
It was being able to stop paying attention to the limiting thoughts in my head, those
Yeah.
default thoughts again. It was my ability to stop listening to them, because they don't want me to grow my business. They
No.
just want me to stay stuck, to stay small and do the safe thing. And let's face it, Beck, being an entrepreneur and building your business, it's scary as hell for our brains. And it's going to give us all the reasons why we shouldn't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those reasons are really bold and they
Yep.
sound very believable.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to be able to call them out and to say,
Yep.
actually, I'm not going to trust in that. I'm not trusting that, because I know deep in my belly there's a fire there and it wants more. And you
Mm-hmm.
know what? As a woman, it's fine to want more.
Yeah.
We don't need to just be grateful for what we've got. And that's what I used to be like when I was in my corporate job. I was grateful that I had a job and I was so
Mm-hmm.
unfulfilled. I was anxious as hell.
Mm.
And I don't want to go back to being that woman ever
No.
again. And I don't want any woman to feel like that ever again.
No. And look at you. Bloody look at you now. Look at you now. So let's talk about the up level that's happened in your business, because I find this so often. A lot of clients come in around the same scope and the amount of money that you were making when you started with me. We have this huge up level, dreamy clients, dreamy bank account. And then we had a few things that we had to work through, didn't we? Boundaries, timetable,
Oh,
sorting out what it looked like for you. Now we have this new iteration of your business. What did you find? I'm going to say the hardest. I don't necessarily mean it that way, but what did you find the most kind of emotionally pulling for you when we made that shift, when we made that up level? Because I know a lot of people stop there, don't they? And then revert back to what they know. What was that for you?
it was creating safety around holding a certain amount of clients and a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of money.
Yeah.
Because when I was a mom coach and I got fully booked with 18 clients, I've said that before,
Yeah.
I ran away and hid, because I didn't build my business to be busy and on schedule all of the time. And that's how having 18 clients felt to me. I was like, I want my business for time freedom and financial freedom. So why am I burnt out? I'm fully booked. This is what I wanted. The money's incredible. But why am I so burnt out? And my brain had subconsciously decided that if ever I was to get fully booked again and call in this amazing amount of clients, that it wasn't gonna feel right. So I had, for about a year and a half, avoided getting fully booked again, and it
Mm-hmm.
felt really unsafe to me. But what you did, when since becoming in since getting into the new pivot, no, what should I say?
I like the new
Since
pivot, the new
since
niche.
since changing my niche and having new clients come to me and getting busier and busier, I've been able to say, Beck, I'm feeling like this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling fear coming up around getting really, really busy again, and then not being able to be the best version of me for the kids, for my hubby,
Mm-hmm.
for my pets, for God's sake.
Yes. Yes.
And you've allowed me to create safety around having everything I fucking want. Whereas my brain thought it was unsafe.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
been massive.
Yeah, and I really saw the shift. And I think sometimes we have to experience what quote unquote too much is, right? You had that experience of wow, 18 clients. Okay, that was too much, but now I know, now I can understand. And then it's being able to, work through it, which we definitely did. And I think one of the first things that I remember you bringing in was the fact that you wanted evenings with your daughters. Like that was such a huge thing for you to bring back. And so that was the first boundary that we put in. And you were like, oh my God, that's so easy. Like I
Oh,
just block my
yeah,
calendar out. Is
yeah,
that it?
yeah,
Like it was almost those very tiny tweaks that gave you that next new lease of life to bring more people in, didn't it?
yeah, absolutely. And energetically, that was the one of the best things to do, because as a lot of coaches do, we think we've got to have a wide open calendar
Yeah.
with the hope that someone's going to book in. But when people actually do, and you're working from like 8:30 on a morning till 9 o'clock at night, are you actually living in the business that you want to live in or
Mm.
not? And I wasn't. And I had to talk to you about it, and for you to say, Leanne, it is safe for you to only work at certain times on certain days. And that blew my mind. When I realized that my business was running me, I wasn't actually running my business. And when I did that, Beck, and I don't know if I ever told you this, is that I actually got more clients.
Yeah.
So the more I limited my calendar, and for anyone listening, I actually keep Mondays and Fridays free. I don't have any client calls. Yes, I'm still in Voxer with my VIPs, but Mondays and Fridays are days for freedom for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly what I wanted when I decided I wanted to have a business.
Yeah, for sure. So it was creating the safety around that. And, you know, we're creating the safety around boundaries at the moment, aren't we? And bringing more of that in and what you want that to look like, which has been really powerful. And like you said, you are able to have the dreamy clients, to have the money, and to have the freedom, which I think people subconsciously say that they can't have because they've only done it one way, isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I always ask you, and you must get sick of me asking this, Beck, but I'm like,
Never.
Beck, what did you do in your business? What does your calendar look like? What does your whatever look like? I look to you as an example /
Mm,
inspiration / proof it's possible for me. And I love that you're so open about
yeah.
that. You tell me what your boundaries are like and they empower me. You tell me what your calendar's like. How do you hold space for the amount of clients that you hold? And I'm like, fucking hell, if Beck can do it, then me too, because
Yeah.
that's what coaching is all about, and mentorship, especially. If I can do it, then why not you? Because I'm not a special unicorn.
Mhm. Mhm.
We
You
can
get
all
to do
do
it
it.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, there's been so many things today. It's been so juicy, but I think it's I'm going to finish off before we get into talking about you and what you do. What's been your favorite part of our time together so far? I know we're not finished yet. we're
My favorite part has been the harsh truths that you have delivered that I needed to hear. By God, I needed to hear. And
just having them
I
there.
think we all need to hear some harsh truths from a place of love. And some
Mm,
people won't be receptive to it because sometimes it's not what people want to hear.
yeah.
They want to have a coach or mentor that mollycoddles them,
Mm,
right? But actually, you want me to build my business. You want me to fulfill my potential. And you had to call me out on stuff. And that really, really accelerated my business for me and took me my own mindset from being that of a coach to a CEO. And that is what you do so well, Beck.
mm. Like,
Excuse us while we have a
yeah,
moment.
just one sec, guys.
I've got goosebumps. That's a sign.
No. Yeah, and I think that is truly what I saw with you. It was coming from this the struggling coach story that I know that I was in for so long. You know, I know that story like the back of my hand, and that's why I can relate to it so much. To seeing you build your business in such a way that is powerful not only for you but for your family, for the clients that are coming in, for what you're going to go on to achieve, and all of the juicy things that we've got coming up, and all of the things that you told me might not ever happen for you has now happened. And I just think it's so freaking incredible that you've allowed yourself to do it and you've allowed yourself to go there. And I am beyond proud of what you've achieved and what you will go on to achieve. And I think it's that moment where you go, it's happening, it's
Yeah,
happened, this is it, isn't it, of
absolutely.
really
And
seeing that.
I remember us actually having a conversation, and we said, like, what would Leanne be doing if she was fully booked and having 20K months, which is the goal for me. It's
Yeah.
my goal. And my ultimate goal is to retire my husband. And
Yes.
again, he eye rolls at that, but that's
Yeah.
where I'm going.
Yeah.
Um, you actually said, so this Leanne that has 20K months, what does her business look like? What is she doing? And we literally wrote a list and a success plan for
Hmm.
my business to hit 20K months.
Hmm.
And we both know that that's coming, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, easily.
It's coming. And
Yeah.
I love that you held space for me for that, because there aren't many people that you can, in your day-to-day life, where you could sit down with someone, again, make that audacious goal, hit that mention like an audacious goal or statement and to have someone say, fuck yes,
Of
why
course.
not?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I think that is the power of being in the space with someone who holds you in that as well. And like you said, calls you out and shows you the ropes and shows you what's possible. And I know that you do that for your clients too, don't you? In that sense of
Yeah.
the embodiment piece as well.
It's so important to have someone that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. That's
Mm.
why I think everyone should have a coach. Anyone with a human brain should have a coach. Like if you want stuff to happen in your life, hire a
Lego.
coach, hire
Yeah.
a mentor.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, oh, this has been amazing. I can't wait to listen back and actually reflect and take it in. I find it's a work in progress of me being able to hear compliments, and that's why I pause every time that you say something. I'm learning to take them in. So thank you for all your beautiful words. But
You're so welcome.
equally,
It's the truth. I could not
equally so
have done
proud.
this without you. And for anyone that's listening to the podcast and you've been listening, maybe like me for years now, like hang out with get her on your vision board, get her face on your vision board, and like get in her DMs, book a call. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You might actually achieve your dreams.
Da, da, da. For sure. And it was scary, wasn't it? It was scary for you to invest. I know that. Like, I know,
Oh, it was scary.
yeah. We had that conversation, and you actually started 3 months with me, and very quickly were like, no, I will be carrying on.
Yeah, I had to carry on. It was almost like, and I say this to my own clients, when you have someone that you really connect with, it's like you're on a train journey with them, and
Yeah.
you have to get off at the first stop, and you're like, but actually I want to stay on for the whole journey.
That's Momo.
Yeah.
So she's on, but let's dive into what you do and how you help your clients. I know we've talked about it during this podcast, but just to let the audience know actually what you do and how you do it and what that looks like in your world, I'll open the floor and pass the mic over.
Thank you, darling. So I'm a rockstar business coach and hype woman for female coaches that want to build their businesses.
Love that. And you're working with quite a lot of coaches at the beginning of their journey, aren't you?
At the beginning of their journey, maybe like from brand new out of coach school to maybe they've been in their business for 2 years, but they don't have the consistent clients, the impact and income that they really want.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed and what actually happened for me is that there's a huge gap between qualifying as a coach and bringing in consistent clients.
Yeah.
That I don't think anyone tells you about when you sign up to these places to get your qualification. There
No.
is a huge gap, and I saw so many of the people like in my cohort that didn't build their businesses. These amazing women who they want to change lives, they could change lives, but they just didn't have the confidence to launch their business.
And I think there's no support, is there? Like, I remember when I did my qualifications, we had, I paid a lot of money for my qualifications, and I did a lot of days, in-person days for the hypnotherapy and the NLP and everything like that. And there was one day dedicated to marketing.
Wow.
And it was fucking awful.
Yeah.
So like it was horrendous what they taught you, because there's no gap between you having these skills and having the knowledge and then actually knowing what to do with it without thinking that someone's going to just fall upon your door, which is exactly what I thought when I first started my business.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not taught how to be magnetic. We're not taught how to be visible. And these things can be learned, but it just doesn't come naturally just because you've suddenly qualified as a coach. And I remember, actually, I think I was qualified for about 3 months. As soon as I qualified, I was like, yeah, I'm going to hit 6 figures in the first year. And again, my hubby eye rolled. 3 months after that, I still didn't have a paid client, and my hubby was putting the pressure on me to go back to my corporate job. And I was like, I can't do that, because corporate for me means I'm going to feel anxious again, and I'm going to feel unfulfilled. And why do I want to do that when I've actually got this qualification now? I'm really fucking good at what I do. Like, I had about 10 pro bono clients with amazing results. but I just couldn't bring a paid client in
Yeah.
because I didn't have the confidence back.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of, a lot of the work that you do is that, and I know you'll speak into that after I've finished, but like a lot of people are looking to find the answers within the content strategy and the this strategy and the that strategy, but there's so much more to that, isn't there? There's so many more layers than just knowing what to say and how
Yeah,
to say it.
you can know exactly what to say, and I did. I knew all the strategy. I had it coming out of my arse,
Yeah.
basically, but I wasn't implementing it because I didn't have a hype woman or a
Hmm.
coach like you holding my hand, creating safety, cheering me on, calling out my mindset blocks. And when
Hmm.
I did employ you or hire you to become my person, within days, I was taking action. We've talked
Yeah.
about that. I pivoted
Yeah.
my whole business. And what my
Yeah.
clients have said about me is that what they could achieve with me in 1 month, they couldn't even have done alone in 6.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure you find that with your clients, the
Yeah.
amount of action, the traction that you get when you're working with someone who is dedicated to you and your mindset and your business alone, it is an absolute game changer.
It is, for sure. It is. And being able to see those blind spots that you can't necessarily see by yourself because you're
Yeah.
so in it, right? You're so
Yeah.
in the thick of it, aren't you?
Oh, I was well in the thick of it. I had my head in a black cloud, I think,
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
I was so blind.
Yeah. Oh, you're so amazing, Leanne. You're absolutely amazing. And I'm so excited for the next iteration of the biz and what we've got coming out for you. But where
Oh,
can people find you, consume you, find more about you? Where is that for them?
I'm on Instagram. That's why I tend to hang out on Insta.
Yeah,
I'm underscore Leanne Sia underscore.
I'll put
Come
it in
and
the
say
show notes.
hello. I would love to hook up with you.
Yes, and say hello and make new friends and be in your energy because everyone freaking needs you in their life. That's for sure. I think
Oh,
so.
Beck. Thank you. That means the
Well,
world to me.
thank you for coming on. You have successfully ticked off another vision board vision.
I am actually going to have to do a new vision board.
I think so. I think you're
Yeah,
pretty much done the done the old vision board.
I know.
It's time for a new one. But thank you so much for joining me. I love you. I'm proud of you. And thank you all for listening. If you want to know more about Leanne and want to follow her on Instagram, please do. It'll be all in the show notes below. And I will see you on the next episode.
Mwah.